We are going to be turning Baby, the four-door hardtop from the Supernatural television series, into a Biscayne. And not only a Biscayne, but four-door sedan. And if that isn't bad enough, we're going to be dropping a 6-cylinder engine into it. So keep watching and let's have some fun. Good day, everybody. This is the Modeling Hermit coming back at you once again. We have a new project today that we're going to be starting on, and that is the Supernatural 1967 Chevrolet Impala Sport Sedan. Chevrolet's talk for four-door hardtop, but we're not going to be building it as a four-door hardtop. We're going to be building it as a four-door sedan. I have one that I built before. This is an Impala that I built, and probably about 3-4 years ago. And as the sport, the four-door hardtop, which is referred to as that, make it easier. You'll note that it does not have a center post, and there's no framework around the upper doors, windows. The four-door sedan does have that, and like I said, we will be changing this to reflect that. So there'll be a framework that goes in around this area here, and then there'll be a door post there. I will also be letting you know what materials I use for making those. My plans actually are, I made a Biscayne sedan about the same time I made this one here, and I did it with the same kit. And when I do that, I have to remove this chrome trim that goes along here, and then my taillights have to change on it. And interestingly enough, the four-door sedan, the kit for the Supernatural uses a different bumper than what the two-door hardtop uses. And they have these bumper guards here. So I will be exchanging out the bumpers from the two-door hardtop kit for this. So it takes two different kits to do this thing. The taillights will also have to be changed. As you notice here, we have the red, backup red. On the Biscayne, it'll be just a red and a backup light on that. And this trim will be gone. That'll all be explained as I'm building it. But those are the main things on the outside. Interior. Interestingly, I've not figured out why AMT did this, but their front seat pattern and the rear seat pattern don't match. I will just be sanding this out and probably not doing a whole lot more and just trying to get this basic front seat pattern into the rear seat without doing a whole lot, because the interior is going to be black on this anyway. Now, I'm going to, before we get to the outside, I will make note, this is the interior panels for the four-door stand. I'm not going to change those. I'm going to just, since the interior is black, I'm just going to leave those the way they are. I should, but they're not going to be seen that much. I should do a little bit more on them. Now, I want to mention one other thing. On this, it will not be an authentic four-door sedan that I'm doing. The sedan had a body panel that came up straighter at the back than what the four-door hardtop does. And it's just really not worth the work to do that. And people are going to call out this, I'm sure, that, that's not correct, that's not prototypical, that, this curves too much, that, four-door sedan doesn't curve that much. Well, I'm going to live with that. So I will put that in right now, that that is something that is not prototypical, but we're just going to deal with it. So as we're going along with this build, you'll see that I don't change that. If it was prototypical, I would bring that back up straighter than what that is. But I'm not going to go to that much work for just, now contest quality model, I would have to do that. but for just this, it's going to be good enough. And that's the same way with the interior and all. I'm just going to go good enough on that interior. So anyway, that's where we're going to be going to on this as we're building it. And what I've talked about here, I will continue to talk about as we're building it. The hubcaps that are on the four-door stand you see here are from the 66 Nova kit, as I remember right, is what those come from. If I build this as a Biscayne, I will be using some dog dish hubcaps. I don't remember where I got those from another car, but I will be using those. So keep watching. We're going to have some fun building this. I'm going to show you what materials I use to change things. I will let you know what tools I use and everything else. And we're going to change the Supernatural 4-door hardtop kit into a basic 4-door sedan kit. You will note that I have blue tape on the car body at this moment, and my purpose is not for painting. In between that blue tape, you probably can't see it well, but there is a chrome strip, and that is going to be sanded off. And the reason that I put the blue, I still can't get it where you can really see that chrome strip. The reason I put the blue tape on there is to minimize the damage to the body as I'm sanding off that chrome strip. I wish you could get that where you can see it better. But anyway, the reason I have that on there is to minimize the damage to the body as I'm sanding off the chrome strip. And I probably will end up having to replace that tape a couple, 3 times in the process, because it's going to get sanded down pretty fast as the chrome was getting sanded down. My next project is going to be to start sanding that off. We are going to be making the Bel Air the Biscayne out of this. Note that I have not put in the window trim yet. That is still open there. The reason for that is as I'm sanding down here, I don't want to have to be taking the chance of breaking out my work that I put in there. So, with that in mind, I'm going to get started sanding on that. And the next time you see this, it will be, how do I say, unimpaled. So I removed the trim that makes it Impala. And we're going to get ready to go in and do the trim around the windows. There we go. We're going to do the trim around the windows pretty soon. So there'll be that post there and then the trim. That's the next thing coming up on this, and I will also advise you of what pieces we will be using to make that trim. I've made a little bit of progress today on the 67 Chevrolet build. You see the 60 Chevrolet pickup box in the background. I've pulled the engine from that and transmission, and I've dropped that down in there to give me a 6-cylinder straight stick, really downgrading this car big time. And I'm still going to try and go for the Biscayne look. I've got to work out the taillights, make sure I've got everything I need for the taillights yet. Other than that, I think we're set to go a Biscayne on this, and I'll be showing you how to do that. So for right now, that is the engine that we're using. Probably at a later time when I build that pickup, I'll drop the 427 from this kit into that, although I'm really looking at probably a 348 with 3 deuces into it. Either way, it'll be impressive. And yeah, we're going for a downgrade. I know that in modeling we're supposed to go from downgrade to upgrade, but we are going from upgrade to downgrade on this one. So that's where I'm at the moment. I've put the chassis together and everything off camera because that's just basic work that you do on any model. What I'm going to be showing you here in the future is just the things that are going to be making this one distinct from the kit. What we're going to be doing first on this is these are the door panels. And when we put in the framework, for the windows right there and there. We're going to be adding a little extra width to that. I want that to actually drop down in a ways. The back support panel, I want it to drop down in a ways. And in order to do that, it's going to end up interfering with the door panels there. So I'm actually having to file that to make room for that to fit into there. You'll see as I go along what I'm talking about. So right now we're working on filing an area for that to fall into. And let's check it out. It needs to be just a little bit wider, a little deeper. A little wider, a little deeper. Actually, I'm fighting against myself here. We're going to take our sprue cutters. Take a snip there and a snip there. Set that aside for a moment. Get this down where I can work with it. There we go. Wow, what a difference it makes when you do it right. And as you can see, what we're doing is just making a little indentation there. And that should do it. And there you go. So that's what that's all about. And then that goes into the inside like this here. Now there will be a chance that I also have to do a little filing. If I remember right, I've got to do a little filing right on this area between the two doors. I may have to file that a little bit too. But that's where this comes in, is to keep from having to file that as much, because that's going to show more. I don't want that to show. Okay, so with that in mind, we are going to go for the little guys. We're going to go odd 40 by odd 40. This is the tricky part, is you got to angle this to go into that, and you can't see a darn thing of what I'm doing. I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, there's, see how I had to angle that down to fit into there? And that's where we're going to start at. And we're going to make sure that our angle is right on that. And I don't think it is quite. Okay, so let me make sure here. Because my angle is backwards of what it should be, of what I'm expecting it to be. Okay, there we go. So that one right there. Don't get too carried away on making this filing here. We're going to get these interior door panels out of the way. That out of the way. We don't need it right now. Now, let's see if we can get it where you can see what we're doing here. We're going to bring this down and set it into there. And that's where we need to make sure we get our angle on this. Now, I've got to start it of an angle, but it's going to take a lot more than that to do it. Okay, so we want to start getting this angle down. You're going to hear me say the word angle a lot because we are working with angles, and a lot of them. Can you see? Yeah, I think you can see what I'm doing. Okay, hopefully that's enough. It's good. It's actually quite a bit of an angle that you need back in. Oh, there we go. That's got it. Okay, now the trick is I'm not going to glue this whole thing in at once. I'm going to work this a little at a time. And what I'm going to do here to start with is I've got to glue this from the back while holding it from the front, while making sure that I don't get my fingers in where the glue is going to go. Sheesh, I'm going to have to do this from the front. I don't like that. That's right, I had to do that from the front. And this came loose. Okay. This really gets tricky, guys, because you got to keep your fingers out of the glue. But you got to hold that at the same time. Okay. So, what I did, and you probably couldn't see what I was doing because I'm going to do a whole bunch of things all at once. Okay, as I had to drop some glue into right here, and I had to drop it from the outside because of the way I'm working here. I really don't like doing that. I want my glue to go in from the inside. Now, then I can turn this around a little bit. We got to let that dry, and that's going to take a little bit to dry. Okay, now I'm going to get a hold of this somehow or another, if I can. There we go. Okay, now see how I've got a hold of that, and I'm pushing it up into there. I'm going to come underneath of this now, when I can get to it, and I'm going to get a little glue onto this. Okay, now that should help hold that. This is going to take a little bit to get this piece in, because it is glue and it's hold, and then after it's held for a second and you got glue in it, then you start pushing this in, and you'll see the glue kind of squeeze out, showing that it's still there, still a little damp. But you're going to hold that up into there to get that in good. Now the thing to remember here is that you are not going to have chrome trim to go over to hide where the door panels come together, door pieces come together, door frames. Okay, and so you got to make sure that at the top here you cut this just a little, describe it actually. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to fight that a little bit. We're going to fight the urge to go ahead and cut that. And let's go ahead and drop some glue into here, because that's holding good. All right, we're going to just go that far. This is what you have to do all the way through on this. You have to just do that a little bit and then coax it up into there. Now I can come in here and I can cut this. Remember, they got to cut an angle. Everything's at an angle on this. And did I do it right the first time, or oh wow, looky there. Perfect. Perfect. We're going to get some glue on that sucker before anything happens to it. That is just perfect. I usually end up cutting them too short. I usually cut them too short. Too long is okay, you can file it down. Too short's not good. Too short is not good. And we'll just take our finger and bring that in with the vent post there, and looky there. What we're going to do is we're going to get our odd 40 by 100 into there. Go ahead and get a little bit of an angle onto this thing here, because it has to angle some. Now then, we're going to get that onto there and make sure we got the angle we want, and that it's nice and straight. Needs to be a little bit straighter there. Angle and straight. In other words, the middle here is a little bit bumped up. All right. Now this is, I'm not actually doing any measuring. I'm just taking this and hooking it down as much as I can. Get it so that you guys can see this is really tough. I'm only going to do this one frame, and then I'm going to do the others without you guys having to try and see where I'm at. Here comes my supervisor. Hello, supervisor. Okay, I'm going to cut that a little long. Little long. Oh no, it's, hi. How are you doing, huh? How are you doing? Hi. Okay, back at it again. I had to pet the cat. It was going by. Now, the problem is that the body wants to wiggle around. Okay. Did I get that and cut that good too? Wow. As you can see, I'm fighting a moving body. A moving body. This is the tricky part. And this is just to see where we're at on it. So I'm sorry, but you can't see what I'm doing. Okay. So anyway, it's going to go in like that there. I got to trim just a little bit off of that. And I'm going to go ahead and work on getting that in, because all I'm going to do is make you guys dizzy. And this is going to take some work. So you can see what I'm going through and such. So I will be back. Okay, so far it looks like I have been successful in getting these pieces in the framework, window framework. I have this framework there. Okay, I've got this one in now, secured. The upright post here, we'll have to scribe a line in there. I would have liked for that to be just a little bit more angled up, but I think it's going to be fine for where it's at. That little angle is hard to get correct. So anyway, yeah, so like I said, I'll just have to give it a scribe there. I'm waiting for this to dry real good before I do that. And a scribe here on this one. And yeah, right there. A little sanding on the edges there. Now I did add bracing to the back. So I ended up just adding a piece there. But I did not have to go the wider piece. So we used the 40 by 100 on the back too. And that is where we were successful in getting those in. Sorry about you not being able to watch my putting those in, but that's was really quite awkward to try and do and have you be able to see what I'm doing, because I was having a hard time seeing what I'm doing actually. But they're in and they're looking good. When I get all the scribing done on that, then I'll go in and I'll flat black this. If I'm not going to put a headliner in that, I thought about it, had it all prepared for it, and decided that you're not going to be able to really even see that in there. So if it was a 2-door hardtop or left 4-door hardtop, I might do that. So anyway, that is where we are at on this one at the moment. I've got, like I said, to let things dry and then do some scribing. And then it will be turning my attention to the taillights and setting them as Biscayne instead of Impala. And that's, I've got to let that dry, so we'll catch you at a bit then. All right, so I was just getting ready to start working on the back bumper on this car, the 67 Impala into a Biscayne, when I realized I have got some serious problems going on with it. On the Impala, they have a chrome piece at the edge of the trunk, and then that goes around the taillight area there and such. Well, I forgot about that when I started to work on this car, and I had to make some adjustments there in cutting this off. Actually, before I go into that, there's another thing I noticed too. On these kits, there is a mold line that runs across that, and I didn't even see that. For some reason, I didn't see that until I had the car painted. I was getting ready to work on this back bumper, and I go, oh, rats. So I had to do a little work on that. I wish this thing had focused when I'm trying to get it to focus. There we go. Now we're back. Okay, so anyway, there's a mold line that runs right across the back of the trunk, and that has to be blended off. I hadn't noticed that till I had the car painted. And now this section that you see in the black there, that was cut off of the bumper. And the bumper isn't going to stand up for me. So anyway, I had to cut the taillights out because they're different on the Biscayne from the Impala. And then I cut that piece off that goes over the this piece here. I cut that. Get it back up again. There. That piece right there. I cut it off from here, molded onto the body, and that's going to have to be molded in and then blended into the body with body filler. So that's something to think about. Remember when you're building this kit, and that includes for the two-door hardtop, that there is a mold line that runs across there that has to be sanded out. And don't forget the ones that down at the bottom at the back window. Those have to be done too. So anyway, I am back to square one. This is how I've got the bumpers so far, and the taillight area is cut out. I'll be making taillights for that yet. And like I said, this piece here, I'm going to glue that in, and then I've got to get the body filler in and mold that in. So that's going to be quite a bit of work, and it would have been easier if I'd done that before I had painted the body. And in the process, remember that there is a trunk key right there, a trunk latch, and you don't want to lose that in your sanding and such for the body. So this is going to get a little tricky. It's once again one of those things where I really can't put it on camera because I'm going to have my hands in the way of what you're trying to see. So I will come back to you when I've got that done and show you what I did and how I did it. Okay, so I actually have some paint on the car today, and I've finished up the back end where I had to do all that work of adding in that little section, and it came out pretty decent here. I probably could have done better, but I'm real pleased with it. We've got a blue paint on it now. A little hair up there. There we go. And yeah, so it's going to be blue with the black interior. And we've got the bumper done, if I can find it over here. Let me leave you guys looking at the car while I'm trying to find that bumper. So, well, I got it in the box someplace. Oh, there it is right there. Okay. So anyway, there is the bumper now and taillight section. And it has been changed to reflect it. This doesn't like that. I'm trying to get it up close enough you can see it without it getting blurred. But anyway, so we have the taillights and backup lights in it. And set up for Biscayne. I still had to do the bare metal foiling on the, let's see, the door handles and around the windshield and back window. That's all that gets bare metal foiled on this thing. That's it. So, and now I was going to cheat and just do the engine straight without any wires or plumbing or anything like that on it. But my mechanic crew is here, and they have informed me that there will be details going on to that engine. So, especially since that is a focal point of the car, and the build is putting in a 6-cylinder from the V8. So they say that that's got to be detailed. And I told them if they want it detailed, go ahead and do it. So anyway, one of the next projects then is going to be detailing the engine. And let's see, detailing the engine, bare metal foiling. And at that point, I think we are into assembly. And that's going to be about it. Okay, we have been busy on this one. I now have the plug wires in, hot wire down to the starter, and we have some plumbing in and a few other items. We're ready to actually start some assembly on this thing. I've got a little cat hair there. Wonder where I got a cat hair from. Anyway, we are ready to start some assembly on this thing and see how everything goes. I did get the exhaust in. You'll note, if I can get it turned around where you can see it, that I did run it in a single exhaust on the passenger side, which was typical, or prototypical for these cars. So we're going to try and see if we can't get this thing assembled here somewhere or another. I've got to be careful where I put my hands on it. And let's see, so we got the dash in, there's a firewall. And anything else that needs to go, let me double check. We do have something. I thought I wanted to double check here. We would have been radiatorless. So what we've got to do now is we've got to try and get this radiator in here. And let's see. I'm trying to remember how this, I think that's actually designed to go into the, I think it actually goes into the chassis, if I'm not mistaken. Like right about there. Yes, okay. If I'd look at the instructions, it would help, but I've built this kit now several times, and I want a lot of good mounting post for this thing. So I'm going to do that there. I'm actually going to give it a third one right in the middle. It has to go to these things too. Okay. And here we go. Now, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Let me back off. I was doing some preliminaries there. So here we go. And this has got... Okay, so I'm trying to remember how this goes. This goes this way here. You know, if I just look at the instructions, what a difference that might make. Okay, so all that goes there. And does it fit around the 6-cylinder engine now again? That's going to be the question. It seems to be going to do so. What is that out there? Is that where it's supposed to be? Everybody's where it's supposed to be. Okay. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. I should let that dry up a little bit, but I actually want to do some test fitting anyway beforehand. Trying to get that thing to pull back there a little bit if I can. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to make sure our hands are clean. Good and clean from any debris. And we're going to try and see if we can't get this baby on here. And there's a lot of things that have to go into this, and this, I remember right, to get things to fit. So what I want is I want my flat file. And I'm going to come down there like that and like that. Okay, now I've got to get you where you can see. This is going to be tricky. This has been the problem with this car, is so many things to do that you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so that's going to go there. And what we're doing right now is we're making sure, before I go gluing anything, I want to make sure that I've got all my ducts lined up here where they're supposed to be. And we're going to shut you off again here because this is going to be tricky where you can't see anyway, if you've seen anything at all of what I'm doing so far. Well, it looks like we got a mess here, but it's nothing we can't overcome. We're going to figure out what I do with my tweezers now. There we go. And we're going to be doing some wiring on this. We have this wire comes up from the starter, and this wire is coming from the battery. It's going to go over to the engine. We have another wire here that's going to work its way down and at the depths of who knows what. It'll take care of that at a bit. Okay, this is the ground wire from the battery, and I'm just grounding it. I think I'm grounding it. Where is my light? Let there be light. Well, ish. Looky there, there is light. And probably right in the way of everything. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to get this one down into there. It goes way down low onto the engine as a grounding mechanism. Always love that word. Okay, there it is. It's down. Now this one comes up to the battery along with this other one over here. So I'm going to pull this to hold that one in like that. Now we have a couple heater wires here. that are going to be causing us some problems. We have to get those heater hoses, or said wires of met hoses, and we got to get those so that they're cut at the right length. And let's see if I can get down here to do that. Just a little bit longer than that. Actually, if I remember right on the body, that actually comes up that way, but I'm not pushing my luck on this one here. I'll tell you what, let's just go like this and see if we can't come down on that. There we go. Now we can cut that. Cut that one. And then it's going to go down. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. This has been a tricky model. And the things that I'm trying to do on it here end up that you can't see what I'm doing. Just mainly because my hands are all in the way. Okay, let's see if we can get this thing down into that hole. I've got, who knows what you're looking at. Right now, I did it. I got it in there. Got it in there. Now we got to do the other one the same way. Got to do it the same way. Whoops, get it cut straight for that. Now then, let's see what we can do here. Now the trick is to get this thing to twist in the right direction. Almost. There it goes. Almost. And we are in the hole. We are in the holes. Heater hoses are on. We got to glue them in yet, but that's going to be another story yet coming up. And so now these two here have to run together for a little bit. I'll deal with those in a minute. I lost where I put my, a smart person would have glued in that ground wire first before putting those in. Okay, we're going to take a break from you guys for a minute again. Okay, we put the trim on the hood. Have it ready to go. We have the bumpers, the front bumper and rear bumper ready. And we're going to try and remove some of the paint off of the grill where I blackened out the grill. Maybe even let you even see it here. How's that? Would that be a novel touch, wouldn't it? Be able to see what I'm doing. I'm just using my fingernails. They'll wash. It's water-based paint. Okay. So anyway, that's about the gist of what that took. Got a little place right there because that's actually in the chrome. So there we go. That's got the grill blocked out, and we still have to put that onto the car yet. That's going to go on nicely right there. Let's see where we're set at to glue to. And now we've got to work on getting that chrome off where that's going to glue at. That can be a challenge. Can you see what I'm doing? There we go. Let me back up a little bit here. A little bit in there too. And we need then to take off a little bit back here just in case I can get some glue back there, because not much to hold these things. Not liking the way that they do these modern models now. They don't really give you a lot of space to glue to. You have a lot of open area here. So we'll see how this works. Once again, we'll set this on. See where we go to with it. And actually where I was trying to go was not going to do anything. So okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and try and glue this on. I'm going to use for that area I'm going to use this Tester's glue. straight from the tube onto the car. Get it so that you can see it here. And we'll see how that works. I'm going to give just some areas down into here, just in case something will touch someplace here for me. Like I said, they don't give me a lot of space. I'm not sure what's going to touch and what isn't. Okay, now let's see if I can get you guys back into where you can see what I'm doing. Okay, yeah, so there's not a lot of anything to hold that. And so I'm going to try and do this without having to keep, we're going to just slide that up there without having to keep turning the power off and on here from you. Okay, now we're going to try and glue the back bumper onto this thing. That has a little bit more to work with. And we're still going to do a little filing back here to give us some good bonding area. Also want to do a little bit on the back of those clear glasses. I don't want those to really be where you can see through and see that there's nothing behind them. Okay, so let's try that. That looks good right there. I'm going to use the tester's glue again. The reason I want to use that is that there's a lot more holding power with that. Okay. Now then, let's see if we can get this onto here without losing it. I think you're actually able to see me do that. And of course, now it'd be nice if I had something that would hold it on. And let's try something here, right there. Let's try that. Well, that'll go right into there. That goes right in. Okay, so that's what we did with that. That's just a paint jar, a tester's paint jar on that. And we are getting really close to having this one done. The hood, I'll just leave that loose to put on there. I do have to find hubcaps for this thing. Alright, so we made a little bit more progress. I had to do some things off camera, getting some prep work done. And we are getting ready now to install some windshield wipers and some goodies like that. I've got just a little bit of trim work I have to do on those. Let's see, let's just try and do that right here. Maybe. See if you can see what I'm doing. Just a little trim work right there. And then take this from the back and pull that off there. Okay, so that's going to get that side. And let's see if we can get this on without making a mess. Probably not, but we're going to try it anyway. There goes that one. And let's see, where'd the other one go? I just had it in my hand a minute ago. There we go. And got my prep done on it. It's ready to go. Whoops, not quite. I've got a little something on the back there. There we go. Now it's done. Now it's ready. Get a little bit glue in there. There we go. Let that set a second. Push that down in, and it's good. That's good. And let's see, what else we have. Now we got hubcaps that we're going to put on there. These actually came from the 53 Ford pickup kit. They're the stock hubcaps. And what I did was just sanded off the Ford, or actually filed off the Ford name on it. I'm going to use these on, I'm going to put them on like this. And then once they're on, I'll take the Molotov pen and coat that then. I don't want to do it before that because then I get weird and exotic things happening to my chrome. I also have a mirror in my hand that's going to go on the left side. I'm only going to do one mirror on this, being the Impala, being the basic Biscayne model. And it's going to go right there. Let me see. I think I actually want to use the tester's glue on it. I'm going to glue that onto the part itself. Wipe off any excess. Wipe off any excess. And then we're just going to see if we can't get that thing to go in there without it having to. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to lose you, but if I do, sorry about that, but this is kind of a tricky place to get into. No, not kind of. It is a very tricky place. There we are. We're on. We're on as good as we're going to get. Okay. Now, the first thing we've got to do is we've got to set this onto its side a little bit like this. We're going to test fit one of these hubcaps, and it works beautifully. Beautifully. Once again, I'm going to be right in the... Whoa, what's that? Okay, we got work to do back there. I'm going to take and do some work on that back before I put the hubcaps on.